how to deal with manipulative people and their anger and their tactics of shame and guilt, all right? So I'm not gonna call out anyone specifically here, but I definitely dealt with an issue today where I had to deal with a manipulative person who uses tactics like anger and guilt and shame to try and essentially bring people down to this person's level in order to deal with their own shame and guilt. What you'll find also, which is pretty interesting, is that when you do something wrong, there's sort of two responses to that, right? So one of them is guilt, all right? And when you feel guilty, it generally results in remorse. So you want to fix the wrong, you want to apologize, you feel bad, not about who you are, but about what you did, right? Now the other response that is frequent is shame. Shame is a toxic response. When you feel shame, you feel like you are a bad person, and you tend to take your frustrations out on the people around you, especially the people who made you feel that shame, because this hurt, which is a painful experience of shame, it, in your mind, is facilitated by someone else's actions, right? So they exposed your shame. They exposed something, in fact, a lot of times what will happen, and this is where patterns of abuse occur, is that an abuser, someone who commits a wrong to someone, they will then experience shame because of what they did to someone, and then they will double down and do more harm to that person because now they're upset at that person for making them act this way, right? So you'll see this in a lot of parenting relationships. If you lived in a dysfunctional family, you might have had your mom or dad tell you, look what you made me do. Like, you make me so angry. You make me act this way, right? And so that's because now they're believing that by them harming you and them feeling bad about harming you, you're the source of it because you're the one who caused them to become angry in the first place and then harm you. So anyway, with all that said, the proper way to respond to this is one, to acknowledge you're wrong, right? To acknowledge that you are not blameless. Don't necessarily defend yourself, but acknowledge some part of what they are saying that is true. Take responsibility for what is true, all right? And then speak the truth about what you know about what is true about yourself, right? So, for example, a person talked to me and said something about me being a bad parent, okay? And so what I replied back was that, yes, in the past I have made mistakes and I have not been the best parent that I could be, but now I am an extremely good parent and I am very caring and very attentive, and and I listed the good qualities, right? So that's me, one, allowing them to say what they're going to say, right? If I deny it completely, what's going to happen? They're going to say, oh no, they're going to cite examples, right? But you take away their ammunition and their ability to manipulate when you acknowledge, yeah, what you're saying, there's some truth in it, okay? You acknowledge your own guilt, take responsibility, but then you speak the actual truth. You don't allow their manipulation to take hold, because what they're speaking, they want you to believe it's the truth. They want to take you down, but it's not necessarily the truth, okay? The other thing that you do in this case, especially when there's anger involved or disrespect, is that you create boundaries, right? Again, you need to do this in a cordial, non-reactive way, right? You cannot be angry about this and respond in anger, and let's say that they curse you out. You don't want to respond back cursing them out. That it's just going to, it's essentially going to accomplish what their purpose is, because they feel shame because of how they're acting or how they are. And so then they're going to try and provoke you to then take an action that will bring you to their level, so they'll feel better about themselves because you're also doing it, right? Now, yeah, they've provoked you to do it and they struck first and whatever the circumstances are. But if you stoop down to that level, now, at least in their mind, you're not above them anymore. Now you're at the same level, or they can actually very easily place you below them, because that's how people operate, right? So what you want to do is you want to create a clear boundary and say, look, if you want to communicate that way, then I'm not going to continue communicating with you, right? Or you can say, I expect you to speak to me in a respectful way, or I will not communicate with you, right? And you can say, I do the courtesy of being respectful to you. And now you're demonstrating that, right? By example, right? Now, the other thing that I think is important in these kind of situations is that you don't back down, right? Because one of the things that a manipulator, someone who is acting out of shame, will do is they will try and bully you. They want to just keep on pressing the attack and coming at you, especially if they know that you're going to respond in a kind manner, that you're not going to be provoked, because either one, they're going to provoke you, and then now they're going to be able to sit back and watch the fireworks as you now have come down to their level, or they know they're going to just be able to run over you, and hopefully they're going to try and be able to spark some kind of shame or guilt in you that's going to allow them, again, to feel better about themselves. So what you want to do is you want to counter back, again, with the truth about them. Not a harsh, maleficent truth, but just state what it is. You know, they're claiming to be better or holier than thou. Let them know about the things that you know, the actual factual things that they've done that you can now give them, right? So what happens now is it makes you not so easy of a target, because again, the person's purpose is to make you feel bad, right? And to essentially deal with their shame by making you feel shame. They don't want a lot of resistance. If they do, they want to fight, okay? If you fight with them, if you engage, you're now throwing mud back at them, they've won. That's what they wanted, okay? Or they want to just be able to run you over. But if you carefully engage and make statements that you know are factual, that are not hyperbole, that are not vindictive statements, but are things that are, you know, what you would say is a factual representation of a contrary reality than the one that they are trying to convince you of. Now it becomes really hard, because now they're like, okay, oh gosh, every time I'm gonna have to fight this battle now. I don't want to fight this battle. I don't want to, you know, and this person's not reacting. They're just making me look worse, right? They know the things that are bad about me. They're revealing my shame and guilt, and they're not becoming reactive about it. So it's just not worth fighting that battle. So anyway, and you know, the biggest thing I would say with all of this as well is that you can't let it get to you, right? And there are situations where, you know, when you're trapped in that reality, right? When you're isolated, where it becomes difficult to distinguish what is true from false, right? Because a person who manipulates and gaslights you, they're gonna keep on doing this. You're not gonna have anything to compare against. But the best thing you can do is to get out and get perspective. Talk to people, you know, explore on your own, read books, you know, and understand that it's not you, it's not your fault. Sometimes people are toxic, and again, even I would say to have a little bit of empathy for them, in the sense that what you know is happening is a cycle of shame, right? And you know the effects of shame. So you realize that this person that's unfortunately acting this way towards you, they're not doing this completely out of malice, right? They're doing this because it is the only way they know how to deal with their own shame. They're sort of caught in a trap, right? They're caught in this cycle, and they can't escape that cycle, because if they could, they would have. So you can have a little bit of empathy in that case, but again, you can't have so much empathy that you're yielding to what they're doing, because that's not going to help them either, right? Many times people like this in their life, they never meet the response that I'm giving you today. Instead, they either provoke people to wrath, and those people become angry, and they don't learn anything from that, or people just don't want to deal with them, so they let them have their way. They let them bully them and run over them because it's easier, right? When you are able to maintain your calm and you're able to act non-defensively, but clearly state your boundaries and clearly state the facts of the situation, right? You are going to create a great teaching. Well, now it's not up to you to teach them. They may never learn the lesson, but it is actually the empathetic response. Now, if you want some help learning how to deal with people, how to increase your social skills, I would love to be your mentor and help you. With that, I've created a whole community called the Bulldog Mindset Membership. Just take a link, or take a look, click the link down below and check it out. And every month you can ask me questions, and I'd love for you to be part of that community.